It's Fan University on 105.3 The Fan, and now we are joined by Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Coach McGuire, how are you doing today? Thanks for being here.
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, you've got the big game coming up against Houston, 6 o'clock there. Coming off the bye week, a huge win against Utah. How important was it to have that bye in between the two road games, with the team being able to recover a little bit, and then just kind of being able to enjoy the win a little more and then reset for Houston?
Yeah, it was big. I think that the bye was pretty uh, perfectly timed because even though we just played 4 games, we spent a month in camp. So you're really talking about 2 months and then a bye. So I think it was really good for our guys. We're able to get a couple guys back. We're able to rest some guys, that've been banged up, just football banged up, and so I think that helped. And if I had a younger team, I'd be really, really nervous, which I'm nervous anyway, but, I would be really nervous. But we have an old team, and that the vets, really control the mood and the intensity of practice, and they do a good job. And so I feel good about us being ready for Saturday.
Head coach Joey McGuire with us on Fan University as the Red Raiders get set for a big matchup against the University of Houston. And coach, I listened to What's Next with Joey McGuire last night, trying to get in the spirit of everything. And you said a couple of things that was really stood out to me, talking about, hey, this is obviously a big game, a conference matchup and everything like that, but the expected Texas Tech crowd at Houston. Could you talk a little bit about what you're expecting and just kind of how that ties into really the momentum with this program, the resurgence of the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and of course, being undefeated doesn't hurt either?
So we travel well, but you're staying in Texas, and two of the biggest areas that we have alumni base wise is the Dallas-Fort Worth area and the Houston area. And so I know that anybody in the Houston and surrounding areas, if they have the opportunity to get a ticket to come watch their team, they're going to. And so I expect that we're going to have a large crowd. Our band's traveling because it is in the state of Texas. And so I'm fired up about that. But that's one thing, man. Don't let the Red Raiders get hot whenever it comes to Red Raider Nation and their fan base, our fan base, because, they are fanatics, and I love that. That's one of my favorite things about this place is the passion that our fans have for their university. And so I'm expecting a huge crowd. I think it's going to help us.
Well, Coach McGuire, I love that you mentioned that you have a veteran team this year as opposed to last season, because you're 5-1 going into the bye week last year. Then you come out of the bye, have a tough game against Baylor. This year, you're undefeated going into the bye, come out with a big game. What do you think your team has learned from that last year, and what you've learned from that game last year to make sure that doesn't happen again this year?
Yeah, one, we did not need to buy last year. Even though we had some guys banged up, that was not a team. They needed we were playing off of momentum, and that was kind of a huge momentum stop for us. That was kind of how every team's different, and that team needed that. We didn't need to buy. This year, I think because you do have guys that have played, I think we're probably one of the oldest teams in college football. We have yet in our advanced scouting, when we advanced scout teams, and you look at the number of starting reps they have on offense, defense, special teams, nobody's been close except for Houston. Houston's the closest team to us as far as snap wise by a long shot. So I'm going to really lean on these guys, and push some buttons with our old guys to get them stirred up and really pissed off to go play on Saturday.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the old guys, and Jacob Rodriguez is such a big part of that group, and he was fantastic against Utah. It's for a lot of people that aren't near and around the program, I think they're pretty surprised to see with all of the transfers and the guys that returned how close they all are. I mean, you can see the camaraderie and the chemistry of this team. Can you speak a little bit about how Jacob's role has impacted this defensive unit? Because these guys look like they're having fun together, playing hard, and obviously have been very effective early on in the season.
Yeah, we had 3 returning captains, and those 3 guys have been huge. Barron, Morton, Bryce Ramirez, and Jacob Rodriguez. And, I asked them, I said, guys, you have got to help me bring this team together. And so you see those guys intentionally spending time with everybody on both sides of the ball. I tell the story all the time. I walked into the Cash where we eat every day, and you got Baron Morton sitting with a freshman tight end, a freshman defensive tackle, and then a senior corner. It's like the most odd mix, because usually when you go in there, you have guys that, they hang out. You got different guys that hang out, but it's usually by position, because they're around each other so much. And Barron and Jacob and Bryce have done a great job of being really intentional of bringing this team together.
Joey McGuire is with us on Fan University right here on 105.3 The Fan, getting you set for the college football ahead. And Coach, I had a question all queued up and ready, but you said something that really just kind of piqued my curiosity. So I'm going to throw a little curveball at you. You said you want to get these guys, your guys, motivated, ready to go, and a little bit pissed off. And I hear that, and I think, all right, what does Coach McGuire tell to his guys to get them pissed off and ready for this game? Can you share any examples?
I don't know if I could. That's a great question. I don't know if I can exactly share all of them, but there's going to be some stuff that we stir up. And it's going to be the same thing on Houston, and I mean, I guarantee you what Coach Gundy said before the game against Oregon, and he just said it publicly. I guarantee a lot of people are using that as motivation behind closed doors of getting ready to play us because of what we did in the transfer portal. But I've been messing with my defensive tackles, Skylar Gill Howard, Lee Hunter, AJ Holmes, Jaden Cofield, saying, they're not talking about y'all. They're talking about number 18 and number 5. That's the talk of the town, which it should be. I mean, the Carlos Allen kid, number 5. I mean, he has 31 tackles at the defensive tackle position, which is a unreal amount of tackles, through 4 games. And so I just kind of use that stuff as like, who's going to outplay who? We talk all the time though about the mirror for a football player is the tape. And when you turn on the tape, that's like looking in the mirror, and can you turn on the tape on Sunday and say you outplayed the person across from you because of the effort that you played with? And so we'll push those buttons too and see what we can get them revved up about.
I love it. You're getting me fired up.
Well, one button you didn't want to have to push, but you ended up having to push, was putting your backup in against Utah. And Will Hammond was just as effective, if not more effective, than Baron Morton was before he got hurt. What do you think something like that does, seeing a backup quarterback come in and continue a domination of a team on the road? What does that do for a locker room in terms of, I know your team's already confident, but does that instill even a higher level of confidence in the overall team?
I think there's a huge trust factor whenever it comes to Will Hammond, because it's a little bit, like the reason that I think our guys trust him so much is because if you think about that offense, they took every single snap during spring football with Will Hammond as the starting quarterback because Barron was hurt. And then we had a couple days, during camp that we gave some of the vets off, and so whenever, Barron had an off day, then Will Hammond was the starting quarterback. And so those guys, they have a great chemistry with him. And then Will, he's extremely unique, man. His maturity level for his age is incredible. It says a lot about, he's got 2 of the best parents I've ever been around. And so they have raised this young man at a whole nother level whenever it comes to the what he brings energy wise in the role that he's in. And so, man, the guys rallied around him because they knew exactly what they were going to get, and they were going to get everything that Will Hammond has every snap.
Well, Coach, we appreciate it here joining Fan University on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas-Fort Worth. Good luck against Houston Saturday night. We're excited to see Barron back and healthy and see the going band from Raiderland and all the fans down there in Houston wearing red. We appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime on the show. Thanks for your time.
Man, thanks for having me, guys. Wreck 'em.